Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining this discussion about the possibilities for rabbinic careers in Chinuch. We need you. Jewish education has many more vacancies and job openings than it has qualified, talented people to fill them. That opens an array of possibilities for rabbis who have many skills in their toolbox that apply to chinuch and that may be looking to either make a career shift or to add to their work portfolio. However, there are some caveats and I want to share them with you today. And I'm going to share my screen, which should be here, and share some slides with you. So let's talk about what are the opportunities that are available. And Jewish education nowadays really is a multifaceted entity that differs based on who is being taught and who's doing the teaching, what the content is, when it's being delivered, and where it's being delivered. And there are enormous opportunities available based on all of these different options. The driving goal of chinuch, the why of chinuch, is very consistent with the why of the rabbinate. The same reasons that you moved into rabbinic practice and a rabbinic career also drive chinuch, that it's about identity, Jewish identity and continuity. It's about Jewish knowledge. It's about Jewish practice, values, and ideology. And certainly Jewish education is about spirituality. And in that way, as spiritual leaders and as seasoned spiritual professionals, you have a wonderful opportunity to add to the field of chinuch. The students, the learners in Jewish education also are diverse, and we should not think of Jewish education consumers as being children or teens or even college students only, but adults, employees, because in the workplace, this has become now often an opportunity, and seniors. And Jewish educators are not just rebbeim and teachers, but also counselors and youth leaders. And to some extent, parents are also morim, horim. They're also always our teachers. And what we teach ranges from text-based learning to life-based learning, like learning our traditions and our rituals, learning the hashkafa, the Jewish thought, learning Jewish history, learning Israel, and many other topics could fit in the what. And the when is also quite diverse, from opportunities that exist in the more traditional school year. This is the calendar, but Jewish learning happens on evenings and around holidays in the summer. There are Shabbat learning opportunities. As I said before, employers are looking at lunch hour options. And with our world moving in these horrible Corona times to living virtually and online, just by example, I was in Chicago this morning. I will be in London later tomorrow. And I've done all of that despite the horrible weather, the airlines, grounding flights, because I do it from my office table here. So there are lots of opportunities. As well, I want you to think about Jewish education being delivered in the broadest sense of locations and contexts, not just in schools and camps and shuls, but on travel programs and in Starbucks and Pesach programs and at community centers. There are all kinds of opportunities for thinking in an entrepreneurial way about what you bring to the table, as well as looking at these as potential employers. Now, here's the piece I want you to think carefully about. because there are components in your rabbinic training, in your background, and in your experience that absolutely make for you being successful educators. You certainly have content area knowledge about all of the topics in Judaism, and some more specifically than others. And I suspect that you have passion and commitment about Jewish learning and Jewish living. But there is another area that is really a critical component for great teaching and for being a successful educator. And that's what I would call pedagogic skill. The fact that one knows how to learn Gemara doesn't mean that one is expert in teaching it. The fact that I know how to play guitar doesn't mean I can teach somebody how to play guitar, or that I know the best ways to teach it. And there are certain what are called situated pedagogies, ways of teaching within the context of particular skills or content that have been shown to be effective, and that if I have not had the benefit of training in education, I might not know. Now, some of you will say, well, I don't know, but I've been teaching for years in my shul, in my context, and I've figured it out. And so your pedagogic skill you may have come by it through years of experience. For those of you who say, I have no idea what Novik's talking about. What is pedagogic skill? I don't really know anything about the right way to teach or the better way to teach or how to manage a group of learners or how to differentiate my instruction or how to assess learning. I don't know any of that. Well, we'll talk about that. How might you build those skills so that you're a more successful educator and a great teacher, but B, you're more attractive to potential employers. The traditional career path for people going into Chinuch is to develop some credentials that include a combination of knowledge in their content area. So knowing Jewish content, Jewish texts. If I'm going to be a Gemara teacher, then I need to know the Gemara. If I'm going to teach Jewish history, then maybe I have a degree in Jewish history. That's my content area knowledge. But then traditionally, educators also get a degree in teaching or a certificate or some kind of training in teaching. They then develop some experience through usually a classroom position. That's where people usually start, is in the classroom. And a traditional career path for a Jewish educator in a day school is going to be a classroom position that, if it is Limudei Kodesh and limited to mornings only, may be considered a half-time position. If it is a school that either has Limudei Kodesh spread throughout the day or has a flipped schedule so that some students have it in the afternoon, it could be a full-time position. Or in some cases, it could be a combination where you teach Limudei Kodesh and another content area, English, math, science, etc. Very often, within Jewish day schools and in this traditional career path, in a very short time, a solid, good, competent educator is asked to add some administrative responsibilities, to perhaps become a grade level dean or a department coordinator or run the yearbook program or run some student activities. And then at a junior level is asked to assume more administrative responsibilities and then to gradually increase their level of responsibility up to a principalship or even to a head of school. And usually that's supported by some advanced degree in administration, in leadership, in management, etc. Now this is the traditional career path. Are there people who hopscotch over some of these steps? Are there people who enter Chinuch with no master's in teaching? 100%. Absolutely, it happens. I'm just telling you, this is the most common and traditional way that I see it happening, particularly for men. In the experiential world, in Jewish education that is informal or camp-based or community center-based, very similar, except that what you tend to see is fewer people have a formal master's degree because there aren't so many master's degrees in informal or camping or other kinds of experiential education. But you see broad experience in settings like NCSY, like summer learning programs, et cetera, with increased supervisory and administrative responsibilities, and then additional opportunities for getting degrees or certificates around particular areas, since there tend not to be high-level degrees in camping, informal education, et cetera. Now, again, I recognize that both of these career paths, whether traditional or experiential, are typical for people who are not mid-career. They're typical for people who are beginning in chinuch. And things are going to be quite different for those of you who have perhaps for decades, if not for years, been providing shiurim in your setting, been teaching in some way, perhaps in addition to your rabbinic position, giving a class at the local high school. You're going to have a very different approach and trajectory. And because of your years of experience and seniority, may be considered much earlier for positions that have some administrative portfolio to them. Azrieli pathways. Azrieli offers, just so you know, this is my paid advertisement here. Azrieli offers master's programs that are fully online, so you can do them from wherever you are at your own pace. The master's program licensed by accredited by New York State offers a master's in Jewish education. It requires 10 courses plus student teaching, which can be done as part of your employment. It can be completed over a period of 2 years or more. We have very generous scholarships for students enrolled in our programs. The doctoral program requires a master's in some related degree, does not have to be a master's in ed or in Jewish ed. It is a low residence program. It is not fully online. There are 5 mifgashim a year, times when students must come to campus in a 3-day mifgash, a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, for in-person learning, and the remainder is online. And even if you are not enrolled in an Azrieli program, our courses are always open to non-matriculated students. So if you see, I would really like a course to take a course in the models of teaching. I'm never going to get a degree, but I'd love to learn from Dr. Salomon or Dr. Korkowski's course on learning and cognition. I'd like to learn about curriculum and assessment. I want to take these courses in teaching Gemara or teaching Chumash or teaching the Holocaust. I'm not going to get a degree. You are welcome to be in touch and hear about the opportunities to engage with single courses, even if you do not enroll as a degree-based student. Now, let's say you've made a decision. You want to look at the opportunities. You want to know what's out there. Here are some resources to help you consider what the opportunities there. The Azrieli Spotlight, which is a newsletter that we send both the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month to over 4,000 subscribers, includes Azrieli alumni and Jewish educators. The 1st of the month is our general newsletter. The 15th of the month is specifically for job offerings. We list positions for free. Listings are posted for a month unless schools or employers request more, and there's no cost for them to be listed. So if you are not already, if you're interested in seeing jobs that are out there and you're not already receiving the spotlight, please be in touch at azrieli@yu.edu, and we will be sure to add you to that list so you see the postings that come out twice a month. Excuse me. Azrieli faculty review all of the requests we get in the spotlight to think about alumni or others that we feel should consider open positions. And so if you know faculty at Azrieli, and if they know you, be in touch and let them know what you're looking for so that you're on their radar. Schools also list positions on the YU Jewish Job Portal and its rabbinic equivalent. So you should make sure that you register and check regularly jcareers.org to see what is listed. Additional possibilities for looking for jobs include Prisma's jedjobs.org, the YU General Career Center Job Board, primarily used by undergrads, but there will be jobs there, and the Lookstein Center's Bulletin Board, all of which are free for job seekers to explore and find what positions are out there. And I strongly recommend that even as you begin thinking about this for your career, sign up, read multiple job searches to look for what are people looking for? What are they hiring? What is listed as the requirements? This week, later this week, on Wednesday evening, we are hosting an annual event, although it has morphed from being a traditional job fair in the YU gym with actual interviews on that evening and a very harried, hectic, and high pressure environment to what I hope will be a very comfortable and wonderful Jewish education night of networking. It's free to register between 6 and 10 in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. There will be numerous presentations, 8 or 9 concurrently, each 20-minute slot, that give you a chance to meet with employers and fellow educators to hear about opportunities, maybe not for a job, but maybe opportunities for learning, a place that you might do an informal internship or network with a school to learn about some of their practices. Just some of the presentations that are scheduled are included on this slide. But since I've done that, there are now over 27 different schools and employers who are presenting, and multiple faculty members from the Azrieli Graduate School, from Reitz Seminary, and from Revel. So you have an opportunity to learn about Montessori education, to learn about Gemara learning and making it relevant for 20th century students, 21st century students, to learn about online learning and its challenges. And the registration link is right there. It's yu.edu/nightofnetworking_attendees. So please feel free to join, even if you are just, there are no interviews. These are presentations by schools. You do not need to have a resume ready. You do not need to be looking for work at this point. It's a chance to just dip your toe in the water and hear about what people are looking for, what people are doing in the field, and to get a sense of how educators talk about the opportunities in their schools. I hope that this information has been helpful to you. I look forward to hearing from you if there are any ways that Azrieli in general, that I personally can be of assistance to you as you consider this option. I will close how I began, with the statement that there is an extraordinary need for talented and committed educators in Jewish education. Obviously, geography plays a role. There are places within North America and beyond where there's one school and finding a job means being the right person for one open position this year. And there are other communities where there's an abundance of schools, an abundance of need for educators, but there may be more people who are available to teach there. If this is something you're considering, please feel free to be in touch. And keep in mind that the opportunities include everything from becoming a full-time Jewish educator to becoming what is considered the teacher of record in a day school for a half-time position, teaching only in the morning or only in the afternoon. But many schools would welcome hearing from a Rav who might be interested in offering a course Tuesdays on economics and ethics in Gemara, business ethics, on kashrut learning, on safrut, on et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you have a talent or a skill, you may need to be be able to think outside the box and to sell yourself and your skills to schools that may not have even thought about all that you can offer to them. Again, if there's a way that Azrieli can help you to hone your skills, to develop your teaching credibility and comfort level, to help you find the resources, please be in touch. Azrieli@yu.edu will reach our office and it will reach me. I wish you much hatzlacha and look forward to hearing about your adventures in Chinuch. Stay well.